Welcome to the channel, and in this video today we're going to be going over a Nightblade tank. I have tanked on a Nightblade for a very long time. I absolutely love tanking on a Nightblade. It's one of my favorite classes to tank on. And Nightblade tanks have gone through some weird stuff. At one point they used to be sap tanks where they could basically heal the entire group, to now just more of a traditional tank. Either way, I've always loved tanking on them, but let's go ahead and jump into it. I have 20.9k maximum magicka, 38.4k maximum health, and 21.6 max stamina. Magic recovery is 1.7, and my spell resistance is 20.8, and my physical is 20.9. I'm buffed. Now, I'm an Imperial. Keep that in mind with these points. You may have to adjust. I have 32 points into magicka, 13 into health, and 19 into stamina. Now, we're using tri-stat food. This is the crown tri-stat food, but you can use, that longfin pasta, whatever it is, the more common tri-stat food, and you'll be fine. You'll actually get a little more stats, but as you can see, our stats are really good with just crown stat food. Boom running is the outro. Don't necessarily worry about the werewolf. It's not needed or really, there for the tank. So, champion points. I have 23 Warlord, 25 Sprinter, 19 Bashing Focus, 64 Arcanus, 64 Tenacity, 31 Tumbling, 44 Shadow Ward. Blessed is the main thing here. We have 64 points in it. This is on a tank. Blessed is the most out of the blue tree. We have these right here don't matter as much, but we have 29 Physical Weapon Expert, 48 Master at Arms, 40 Thermometer, 40 Precise Strike, 17 Piercing, 32 Mighty. Again, these right here don't matter as much right now. So, we have 31 Ironclad, 34 Spell Shield, 64 Hardy, 64 Elemental Defender, 23 Bastion, 19 Quick Recovery, and 35 Heavy Armor Focus. Now, in the initial setup, we don't have a shield, but there are some cases you will need a shield. But if you find yourself never needing the shield, you can always drop the points into Quick Recovery here. Or if you feel like you need more resistances, because I think fully buffed, we're around 31k, so you can actually, cap is like 32.5, so you can go up a little bit higher. So, sets. Our first 5-piece set that we're running is the Akavira Dragon Guard. I highly recommend this on a Nightblade tank at all times, because you already get your ultimate back so quick. This just makes it a whole lot easier. Now we're running an infused axe, or we're running a one-handed infused weapon. It could be whatever. Mine's just an axe. With a weakening enchant on it, it reduces the target's weapon damage and spell damage by 198 for 5 seconds. We're running a sturdy shield with max health. Now, you can go reinforced if you want that little extra resistances, or infused if you want some more resources, but honestly, sturdy or reinforced is the two that I would go with right here, because that max health is going to drop off when you bar swap. So there's really no point in the matter. And then we have an infused ice staff on our back bar with a crusher enchant, basically reduce the target's physical and spell resistance for 5 seconds. So now what this set does is we're running it, we're running it on our front bars, and we're running it on our jewelry as well, with all magic recovery. So now what this set does is it gives us magic recovery, healing taken, maximum health, and it reduces the cost of your ultimate abilities by 15%. The Nightblade is probably, I'm not going to say Necros have one ability that allows them to gain ultimate back pretty quick, but I think without that, I think Nightblades are still up there with the ultimate regen as well. I mean, if you were a Nord as well, that ulti regen would be even faster, and I can keep horns up for days. So, basically, Dragon is really good on a Nightblade. Always one of the best sets. Now, for more ulti regen, we're running Bloodspawn. It's probably one of the easier monster sets to get. Running a light helmet with max health, and a medium sturdy shoulder with maximum health. Now, also, you kind of want infused on your big pieces just because, they give you more stats. Smaller pieces is sturdy. Bloodspawn gives us stamina recovery, and when you take damage, you have a 6% chance to generate a ultimate, increase your physical and spell resistance by 33.1 for 5 seconds. This effect can occur once every 5 seconds. So it gives us a nice little buff in resistances, plus it gives us more ultimate in our regen, which is nice. Now, the next 5-piece set, oh, well, I forgot. Yeah. I have a Activator cursor here infused with Tri-Stack gloves. Tri-Stack gloves are nice. I'd use this in-game a lot, but it's not necessarily needed. You can put max health here and just allocate your points to more stamina and magicka. So, but it's leeching. We're running a sturdy waist, sturdy gloves, infused legs, and sturdy boots with Tri-Stat. Now, you don't need these to be Tri-Stat. I think I had a different setup. I think I was using these to solo tank that AA at one point. So I like to have Tri-Stats on it because it just makes it that much easier. It gives me more resources with Tri-Stat glyphs. But a max health enchant on all these will be just fine. You know, kind of like this one. So, but basically what leeching does is that it gives us max health, healing attack, and maximum health, and when you take damage, you have a 20% chance to summon a cloud of leeching poison on the assailant. The cloud deals 1.4k poison damage every 1 second for 5 seconds, and heals you for 100% of the damage caused. A cloud can be created once every 5 seconds. This goes off a lot, and it helps basically with mob pulling as well, and it also helps when you're out questing or something like that. It also helps deal damage as a tank, and as a tank you don't really deal a whole lot of damage by yourself, so a little proc set is pretty good. So now I guess sets, they come from this dragon comes from East March. You know, you can farm more bosses, public dungeons, get that out of your chests, you know, chest around the area, dolmens for the jewelry. Now monster set comes from Spindle Clutch 2. Very easy dungeon to go through, not a problem. And leeching comes from Imperial City Prison. You can actually get a named one-handed sword called Warden's Courage and a named shield from doing the quest. So if you hold off and get the, I think it's in this one. If you actually hold off, yeah, there it is. That's the named shield. It comes reinforced. You can always change it to infused, or you know, leave it reinforced if you wanted to. I was using it infused at one point. If you have this shield, actually talks to you. It's really interesting. It's Lord Warden, and he'll talk to you as you bar swap and things like that. And then the sword that you get is the Warden's Courage. It comes defending, and you get that from the final boss. So easy set to get as well. You know, if you don't want to farm the weapons and stuff, you know, the hardest part would be getting either an ice staff or a lightning staff, depending on what you wanted. But the sword and board would definitely be easy to farm on that, and then of course the jewelry and the body pieces. But you know, I've got a ring here, leeching, and you know, a piece of dragon here, and leeching everywhere else. So you know, you can mix and match. This is a prime example of that. It doesn't have to be 5 on the body, 5 on the sword and board and jewelry, but you can mix and match to get your sets to be where you want them to be. So now, skills. First set, first skill, of course, main skill for a tank, Pierce Armor. It's going to taunt the enemy for 15 seconds. It's also going to afflict them with major fracture and major breach, reducing their physical and spell resistance by 5.2 for 15 seconds. And as always, you see it there at the end. Try to reapply this at the 2-second mark, so that way you never lose aggro. You know, because if you let it go away and somebody hits it, it can run off. And you have to reposition it, you have to redo a bunch of stuff. So just try to reapply it every 2 seconds. So, Heroic Slash, it's going to deal some damage, but it's going to afflict the enemy with minor maim. It reduces their damage done by 15%, and it's also going to give us minor heroism, granting us more ultimate. It's going to grant us 1 ultimate every 1.5 seconds for 12 seconds. Just another way for us to gain ultimate. Nightblades have a ton of ulti regen. So we get minor heroism from here. That's going to give us ultimate. Blood Spawn proc's going to give us ultimate. And in general, I won't say it's under siphoning. Yeah. After drinking a potion, you gain 20 ultimate. So we are going to gain ultimate back like crazy. So, Dark Cloak. Shroud yourself in a protective shadow that heals you for 2.6k every 1 second over 8 seconds. Portion of this ability scales off your max health. You gain minor protection while shrouded, reducing your damage taken by 8%. So this is going to give us minor protection, and it's a nice little heal. So now Mirage, surround yourself and I don't know. Y'all kill me if I get that wrong or not. But shroud yourself in some kind of aura to gain major evasion and minor resolve, reducing damage from area attacks by 25%, increase your physical by resistance by 1.3 for 26 seconds. So we're going to, this is going to give us minor resolve as well. So that's nice. So we'll have major resolve and minor resolve. Defensive stance. Bolsters your defense, gain a damage shield that absorbs up to 13.1 damage for 6 seconds. The portion of the ability scales off your max health. You reflect the next harmful direct damage projectile cast. Use effect can occur once per cast. While you have a shield equipped, the amount of damage you can block is increased by 10%, and the cost of blocking is reduced by 10%. So it's just kind of there for us to do that. Now, it kind of helps with that. Oh, why did it go to champion points? So, now, this is unmorphed. This is Deathstroke. I want to go over. Basically, you have 2 morphs you can take it here. You have Incapacitating Strike and you have Soul Harvest. Either one of them works just fine. Now, what Incapacitating Strike does is that while slide, you gain minor rev, which restores 85 magicka and stamina when you deal damage with a light or heavy attack on an enemy with a negative effect on them. There should always be a negative effect on the enemy. I mean, you have Crusher, you have Weakening, I mean, you have Off Balance, you have, Burning. There's multiple effects that can be on the enemy. So there should always be a negative effect on them. So if you're having trouble maintaining resources, you can always go with this one. Now, the one I use a lot is Soul Harvest, but I've used the Nightblade. I don't have any problem sustaining on it. It's Soul Harvest. Basically what this is going to do is that while slotted, anytime you kill an enemy, you gain 7 ultimate. So as you're running through dungeons, you pull the mobs, you take them out, you're going to gain 7 ultimate. So if there's 5 mobs there, you're going to gain 45 ultimate just for having this on your front bar. As long as you're on that bar, your shield, sword and board bar, when they die, you'll gain that 45 ultimate. So it is completely up to you on which one you want to use. If you want more sustain, go with the Incapacitating Strike. If you want more ulti regen, you don't have any problem sustaining, go with Soul Harvest. It's entirely up to you. So, it's just choice, dealer's choice. Now, back bar, we have Enrage. This is our distance taunt. We're going to taunt them for 15 seconds. Ranged ally can target taunt an enemy can activate the radiant synergy, dealing 3.8k magic damage to them over 3 seconds. Then an additional 3.9 magic damage to them and other nearby enemies. So, this is just a ranged taunt. We hit them, they come running over. Or, because we have an ice staff on our back bar, you can just have the attack and they'll come running as well. But, keep in mind that neither one of those inflicts major fracture or major breach. So, you want to hit them with pierce armor when they get to you, if they're still alive, especially if it's a bigger target. So, just keep that in mind. Then we have Silver Leash here. It's our pull. Fire Dragon Guard. A Dawn Guard crossbow is hooked to pull an enemy to you, dealing 2.6k physical damage to reduce their movement speed by 30% for 4 seconds. It's just like, you got that archer over there, you just pop him and he'll come to you. Of course, that being a dummy, he ain't gonna move. So, Blockade of Frost. Slam your staff down to create an ice barrier in front of you, dealing 535 frost damage to enemies in the target area every 1 second. Reduce their movement speed by 40%. Chilled enemies who become frozen are immobilized for 4 seconds. We're going to have this down. You want to keep this down at all times, and you want to try to keep the boss in it as best of your ability. As you can see, the the Crusher enchant just keeps refreshing. So, as long as you have that down, you have something going, you'll see that the Crusher enchant and the Weakening enchant will just keep refreshing. As long as you heavy attack or taunt, whatever, on your front bar when it goes down, they'll just reapply. So you can have both enchants going at the same time. So, which is why we have 2 different enchants on our weapon. Now, Refreshing Path. You create a corridor of shadows, granting you and allies in the area major expedition, increasing movement speed by 30%. Effect persists for 4 seconds after leaving the path. It also heals for 1,000 health to you and allies in area every 1 second. It's just about the same size as blockade. Whoop, wrong bar. As you can see, same size as blockade. So basically, you put this down from here to here. Everybody's getting a heal while they're standing in it, and of course, they have major expedition. So what I like doing is I'm running through the dungeons. Major expedition, we run through it. We just keep running. Now throw it down again, and we'll just keep running, whichever way we go. Gets us through the dungeon a whole lot faster. So it's kind of nice. Plus, it's a skill that has utility. You know, I've seen some people have rapid maneuvers on, and they're casting it while they're running through dungeons. You know, it's just kind of taking up a bar. Where this actually has utility and can provide the same effect. So, leeching strikes. You have a choice in this matter as well. I should have thought ahead and did the same thing I did with Soul Harvest here. I just didn't. Forgive me. Basically, this is a morph I use. Leeching strikes imbued your weapons with soul stealing power, causing your light and heavy attacks to heal you for 1.6 health and restore 106 stamina for 20 seconds. Fully charged heavy attacks restore twice the value. So, you restore up to 4.2k additional stamina when the effect ends based on the length of time Leeching Strikes was active. You want this to go the full 20 seconds. No way around it. You want it to. Now, for whatever reason, you know, something's going on, and you need that little bit of resources to taunt an enemy or whatever, you can pop it a little early. But now, the other morph of this will give you magicka back instead of stamina. So keep that in mind. If you find yourself needing magicka, like you're having problems sustaining with her, you can always go the magicka morph. I think which is Siphon. But I have leeching here because you don't always get random groups where you'll have a healer throwing shards or orbs or something like that. And sometimes, depending on the dungeon, you won't have the resources. You know, it kind of becomes chaotic. So, because this takes a lot of stamina to use. So, this right here definitely helps kind of offset that as well. So, up to you. Again, it's another one of those dealer choice. Whichever one you find more comfortable with, whichever one you find more use out of, switch it up. So, and then on our back bar, we have Aggressive Warhorn. This is your main ultimate. This is really the only ultimate you're going to cast on this character. So even though Soul Harvest is on your front bar, their increase in damage that they get is it's only going to be your damage by 20%. So you're never really going to use this as a ultimate ability. You're always going to use Warhorn. So you sound a Warhorn to rally your forces, increasing you and your group's max magicka, max stamina by 10% for 30 seconds. You and your allies gain major force, increasing your critical damage done by 15% for 10 seconds. So essentially, this is going to increase damage. Always good to use at the beginning of the fights and around execute range. So that way, the fights are quick, fast, and they die very, very quickly. Now, I will say this. If you don't have Warhorn, Consuming Darkness is not a bad ultimate to have down. You know, it's a good healing ultimate, and also gains major protection while people are in it. And then Soul Shred, which will basically kind of heal you or stun enemies while they're dealing damage. So, or as always, you know, you could put, I mean, honestly, that would be about it. There's not really much options that Nightblades have for ultimates. Consuming Darkness and Soul Shred would be about the only two that, you know, Consuming Darkness would be my choice if I didn't have Warhorn, to be honest with you. But Warhorn PvP doesn't take that long to get. You can go into the quest where you won't get attacked, and that'll put you around 3.5, and then you just go do a couple battlegrounds, get carried, go out and have fun. You know, it's not that serious, and you'll have your Warhorn, and then just level it up. So, very useful skill. I highly recommend getting Aggressive Warhorn. But yeah, so that's pretty much the skills. That is pretty much the setup when it comes to tanking. Basically, you know, you'll buff up before you go into a fight, so I would just go ahead and cast that. And with the range taunt, you know, throw it down as you turn the enemy. So that way, always stay behind the enemy or have the enemy facing you, so that way your group can be out here. You never want the enemy facing the group just in case they get smacked with an AoE. So, and let me show you. So Warhorn costs us 207. So things aren't dying, so we're not going to get it back that quick. But let's just go ahead and pop a Warhorn real quick. So we'll throw these down. Hit that. Now just activate our abilities here. In a basic setup, as you can see, we already have 37 ultimate impact. Just getting started, so as you cast it. And it's still rising. So pop drink, goes up. So we're going to put our stuff back down. And we're already almost there. So of course, if there's stuff dying around you, you'll gain that ultimate back quicker. My bad. Plus, if you was a Nord getting hit, you'll gain more ultimate back as well. So within 2 rotations, within, I guess, 15 seconds, less than 15 seconds, you've already almost got your Warhorn back. So, not a problem. Very easy to get, very easy to do. You'll have that back, no problem. Now, I guess I shouldn't mention this because I forgot to mention how we get buffed up. So as you see, we have 20.8 and 20.9. We have Blood Spawn there. Now, Nightblades have a passive. I think it is within the Shadow passive. Let me check. Yep. Shadow Barrier here. Casting a Shadow ability grants you major resolve for 6 seconds, increasing your physical and spell resistance by 5.2. This duration is increased by 25% for each piece of heavy armor equipped. Current bonus is 125%, and the current duration is 13.5 seconds. So we're going to have major resolve for 13.5 seconds, which is fine, because the ability that we're using is Dark Cloak and Refreshing Path. So either way, we'll have it. So as you can see, the Mirage was going to give us minor resolve and the minor ones. So as you see, it goes up to a little bit to 22. So then we hit that, we hit Dark Cloak, and we go up to 27.4 and 27.5. Now you factor in Blood Spawn. When we get hit, we're going to go up to 30,000. 30,000.5, 30,000.6. So we're right there. 2K isn't that big of a deal. As we're blocking, it makes up for it. You don't have to be at cap. Sometimes it is nice. And honestly, if you upgraded all the pieces to gold, I've got 1, 2, 3 pieces here. You probably would hit cap on resistances. So either way, that is pretty much the setup. That is how we get our buffs at the end. I guess I should have mentioned that a whole lot sooner, but it kind of eluded my mind. But anyways, that is the Nightblade tank. Very fun. There's multiple sets you could try out. There are tons. There are tons of tanking sets. I have tons of monster sets. If you have it, I like War Machine Automated Defense on my Nightblade tank as well, if I'm using trial sets. But I will say I wouldn't worry about farming these, because I think in the next patch, I think these are getting changed a little bit, or a lot, if depending on how it stays. But there are tons of setups. There are tons of monster sets that you can use. It's almost really hard to tank, to not find a good combination of a tanking setup. But on a Nightblade tank, I highly recommend Cursor of the Dragon being your main. The Activator Dragon Guard being your main set. After that, you can fill it with whatever you need, whether it's Battalion Defender, Leeching, Imperium, Ebon, Turok's Pact, whatever. But I like Leeching a little bit as well. It helps me stay alive in those random groups, because you never know what you're going to get when you pug a lot. If you're not pugging, then you know what you're going to get. So, by all means, use what you feel like. But either way, that is the setup. I hope you enjoy it. And as always, don't forget to subscribe if you'd like to see more of these setups, just casual setups. And until next time, take care.